Okay, let's dive into this. If you're a football fan, you already know the passion, the heartbreak, and the sheer glory of the FIFA World Cup. But today, we're doing something a little bit different for this explainer. We're digging directly into the staggering raw numbers and the mind-bending data behind the history you love. Watched by billions of people worldwide. And that is not an exaggeration. The World Cup captures the undivided attention of billions across the globe, all at the exact same time. Think about how fractured our media landscape is today, how incredibly rare it is for everyone to look at the exact same thing at the exact same moment. This event brings humanity together in a shared global experience on a completely unprecedented scale. 4. That single number, it's basically a psychological pressure cooker. Because this massive sporting phenomenon only happens once every 4 years, it requires just excruciating patience. A legendary player might only get 2, maybe 3 prime chances in their entire lifetime to secure their legacy on this stage. Every single iteration of the tournament is this rare, precious window that slams shut just as quickly as it opens. Section 1. The ultimate golden prize. Because beyond all those statistical records, there is a very real, physical prize, and it carries an immense psychological weight. Winning the FIFA World Cup is the absolute greatest achievement in the sport of football, a literal childhood dream realized right in front of the entire world. Now, what's really interesting about this is the famous World Cup trophy itself. It's crafted out of solid 18-karat gold and weighs over 6 kilograms. To put that into perspective for our American listeners, that is exactly 13 pounds of dense, heavy reality. Grasping that physical measurement, 6 kilograms or 13 pounds, really highlights the literal burden of the prize. It is a substantial, dense reward for surviving the absolute hardest-fought tournament in football. Section 2. Record-breaking legends. When you have billions watching and the ultimate golden prize on the line, human beings are pushed to achieve superhuman things. Throughout the tournament's history, we've seen peaks of both team and individual achievement that truly defy belief. We're looking at Brazil's absolute dominance, Miroslav Klose's scoring pinnacle, and Hakan Şükür's lightning-fast strike. Let's break these down to really understand the sheer magnitude of what they accomplished. 5. When it comes to absolute dominance on the global stage, Brazil stands entirely alone with 5 World Cup titles. But the absurdity of their consistency goes way deeper than just lifting the trophy. They are the only nation on Earth to have successfully survived every single qualification cycle and played in every World Cup tournament ever held. They never miss out, and well, they've got the 5 titles to prove it. 16. This is the ultimate record for the most World Cup goals scored by a single player, held by Miroslav Klose. I mean, to score 16 times against the absolute best, most ruthless defensive players in the world, under the highest pressure imaginable. That requires a level of consistency and skill across multiple tournaments that is genuinely awe-inspiring. And this brilliantly illustrates the other extreme. 11. Not minutes, 11 seconds. That is the record for the fastest World Cup goal ever scored. Hakan Şükür netted the ball in just 11 seconds during the 2002 tournament. Literally, before some fans even had the chance to find their seats, history was instantly made, just lightning fast and completely unpredictable. Section 3. Historic and modern milestones. The World Cup is defined by an overarching timeline of specific, unforgettable moments that perfectly capture an era. Let's move on and see how this builds. Because the tournament certainly didn't become a global phenomenon overnight. It has a very distinct evolution. We are going to look at 3 pivotal markers here. 1930, representing the origin, 1986, representing legendary football folklore, and 2022, representing modern expansion into entirely new territories. It all started in 1930. That is the year the very first FIFA World Cup was held. The inaugural tournament took place in Uruguay. And what's wonderfully poetic about this origin story is that the host nation, Uruguay, successfully defended their home turf and actually won that very first tournament, setting the stage for nearly a century of global competition to follow. Jumping forward to 1986, the tournament produced one of its most famous and legendary milestones, known simply as the Hand of God. This refers to the historic goal scored by Diego Maradona. Now, regardless of how you view the goal itself, it undeniably remains one of the most deeply entrenched and widely discussed moments in the entire history of the World Cup, firmly cementing 1986 in the historical record. Looking at the modern era, the 2022 World Cup in Qatar brought with it some major historical firsts for the competition. It was the very first time the World Cup was held in the Middle East. Additionally, breaking from the traditional summer schedule, it was the first time the tournament was played during the months of November and December, representing a really significant geographical and scheduling shift in the continuous life of the tournament. This tournament is a living, breathing history. We've covered the billions of viewers, that heavy 13-pound or 6-kilogram gold trophy, the superhuman records, and a timeline spanning all the way from 1930 Uruguay to 2022 Qatar, which leaves us with this final provocative thought. Where will the next legendary chapter be written? Because that 4-year cycle is always turning, and new athletes are dreaming right now of lifting that heavy gold prize. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this deep dive into the data really brought the golden history of the World Cup to life for you. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.